We are back with our Survivor 42 power rankings after the almost merge episode, the long almost merge episode. Here with Fan Guy, Mike, Aspen, who's in trafficked.
Down to one person now. Am I on the one person crew?
No, you still have two. You're not at Mike levels. You still have two.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both doing pretty good, I think, overall.
Yeah, that's
Give or take.
How are y'all feeling about Lydia going here?
Who?
Fuck.
She didn't really add a ton because they didn't show her. She probably is actually pretty funny, but they didn't show that. So goodbye, I guess. I mean, it sucks that she's not on the jury. I think the person who goes here last season and this season should both have been jury members, but you know, it's just not the way it goes, I guess.
Who went last season? I don't even remember, to be honest.
Baby, come on. The fuck?
I mean, I'm not saying that Sydney was a good player, that Lydia was like a great player, but they earned their jury spot. They made it this far, you know.
Yeah.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie. So I am sad to see Lydia go.
I liked her more towards the end than I thought I would. She's pretty funny on Twitter, though. Mike is right about that.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down.
This was the least logical vote off of those possible people, too. Honestly, Lydia couldn't win her way out of a paper bag, so I don't really see any reason to vote her off over any of the other possible people that were up. So I think everybody dropped the ball on this one.
There was a lot of dumbassery in this episode. I feel like only 3 people came out of this episode looking positive to me. Which were my top 3.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I hope they were my top for 2.
I'm prepared to disagree with you. Hold on.
You will disagree with me on one of them, probably.
Okay, probably. Okay.
Maybe 2 of them. All right.
I don't dig her whole vibe. Like she's real. Like I get you're on Survivor and you're trying to win, but Chanel's the one of the whole cast right now that strikes me as the person who's not even enjoying the experience of being out there.
I mean, I still say it's hard to tell. We don't get anything from her. Her only edit is that she's awkward. I don't know. I don't even know what her edit is.
I think she has RBF. Like, I think that might be why you're getting that feeling, Van Guy. She just looks constantly pissed off. It's just, you know.
She rubbed me the wrong way at one of those tribals, too. One of her answers to Jeff's questions, like last week or the week before, really pissed me off. And I don't know why, but she was just like, well, it would appear that way, but like, I don't know. This is not somebody I'd hang out with. This is just not somebody I'd hang out with.
Maybe it's because she's on my team, but I just really hate her edit. So I feel like I have to defend her with her edit because she hasn't got anything. We got all of her game from Daniel's point of view.
And that's valid because I was a big fan of her preseason. I really was. And even through the first few episodes, I kept her pretty high in my ranks because I was expecting to see the same stuff. But so it could definitely just be the edit.
But I do think she's clearly on the outs and probably going one of the next few going out.
She seems to be on the outs without any way of getting back on the ends is the thing.
I mean, she's trying, I think. She just isn't.
But nobody's hearing it. They're literally scattering. She walks up. Well, I'm going fishing. Well, I'm going to get wood.
They played that off terribly.
They're not even trying to hide the fact that they're not including her. So
that was before the twist, though, I guess. Maybe that will change things. Because they thought that she was going to be the easy vote off.
I just kept saying, like, it feels like this big group, they're leaving too many people out. And then they were like, yeah, Alliance of 8. And I'm like, my God, someone's on the bottom here. Like these people are going to, I have a feeling that they might pick up Chanel and Tori and someone might do that. But I still just couldn't bring myself to rank Chanel, and I'm sure we'll talk about Tori in a second here.
Yeah, well, hopefully people do keep veering off of that. Q wanted me to point out that the 8 people in this alliance was the online battle. It was basically the 8 survival alliance and with the 12-person cast. So
Q,
very
Stop.
similarities.
stop. Don't bring that shit up, Q.
And their 8-person alliance imploded on the first episode.
True. Well, one of my other people is at the bottom as well, that being Tori at number 10.
Yeah, this list is looking a lot like mine so far. I only put Tori over Chanel for the simple reason that Tori won a challenge and got herself out of the hot seat. So good on
Which
you,
she's
Tori.
good at doing.
Yeah.
From the edit we saw, Tori just doesn't seem to be like, they're both completely on the outs, but Tori doesn't have every single person going, you can't trust Tori. She only has half the people going, you can't trust Tori.
I feel like she's also having a hard time actually getting on people's good sites, though. Her social game is terrible.
She has a good edit though. Like I think they show her more than they show most of the other females as far as the edits are concerned, which
That's not hard to do.
Which is granted, that's true, but that does lead me to believe that she's gonna weasel her way. I'm telling y'all, she's gonna weasel her way through. Now she's gonna navigate this.
I can see her going far. I agree. I still have a hard time seeing her winning, though, even though she's on my team.
I just feel like this 8-person alliance isn't sustainable. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're the final 8 off of whatever weird connections we were shown this episode. But like, realistically, one of Tori or Chanel, I feel like is going to become a number for someone's flip. Maybe both. So.
Yeah, I mean they're already down to 7.
Yes, sure. Any other thoughts on Tori?
Well done in the comp. Hey, you saved your ass because she was outie if she didn't win that. So she did buy herself more time to try to make something happen.
And she beat Jonathan, you know, all this Jonathan praise. Why was Jeff not out there salivating over Tori? Come on, man, she's winning.
Jeff was really going hard again. Well, we'll get to that with Jonathan when we get.
I did get amused at the brief conversation it showed between Tori and Jonathan, where she's just like, "You're somebody who can beat me in a physical competition. I'm sorry, guy." Like, I can appreciate that sort of bluntness, even though I don't think it's very good socially to say that to someone.
Okay, well, number 9, the highest he's certainly been, Mike, is Roxroy.
Woo! There we go, guys. He's getting the Erica edit. Barely shown pre-merge, and then he goes on this thing, and then he's the contender, guys. We're about to see the Roxroy strategic evolution. He's gonna go live in a hut like way down the beach away from everyone else. And then everyone else is gonna get so mad at each other that they're all gonna turn on each other, and Roxroy will just be sitting pretty at the end with no one angry at him. So
This was his best episode. That was.
This guy found himself in the big alliance and he wasn't even there. So obviously he does have people who have his back. Because he was included in this giant alliance and he was the one person that wasn't even there. And that says something. So I enjoyed Roxroy this episode. I don't think his social skills are going to be quite good enough to navigate the remainder of the game, but well played, Roxroy. You made the list, buddy. You got on the list this week. Giving my boy Mike some hope.
He did have good content about his personal life and how he needed this moment to center himself. And yeah, he's not winning, but he had a good episode.
He did. And Tori was actually right. He was thriving by himself on that island. That was the happiest he's been in this game.
She was doing him a favor. I did that to help you. Yeah, right. Tori.
Is this where we talk about how stupid this twist was again? And I'm glad we're not the only people dragging it, because I did see it dragged on every outlet I saw. If you give him a choice and one of them is immunity and one of them is not, there is no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand how production doesn't get that.
All they had to, okay, I think he makes this choice regardless because Tori's on one team and his two closest allies are on the other. So for him, it's super simple. But I think you just give Hourglass person safety flat out, and then they essentially are forced to pick 5 safe people and 5 non-safe people. That's not a terrible twist. This was a terrible twist. Again,
yeah.
Because Jeff doesn't even have to keep going. He can literally stop after the first sentence. You're safe if you break it. He doesn't even have to explain anything else. And any logical person, oh, I'm safe if I break it, but I'm not safe if I don't.
Yes, and they had to like pull cons out of their asses. There was no cons.
right?
Yeah, they reached for those.
How did you all feel about the episode overall? The twist sucked, but it was a decent episode, I thought. Long, maybe.
I liked a lot of the little moments we got between people. I liked a lot of those, like from just a viewing standpoint. I liked that Drea called the twist. That was pretty cool. I disliked. We were shown like one rationale really for why the vote was the way the vote was, and I guess that was trying to keep us from guessing it. I guess so. I don't know. It just all kind of led up to a sad kind of easy vote. You know, I don't like the fact that there's only like 4 people you can vote in this scenario. I don't think it leads to a good episode because it just doesn't.
No, I agree. The one part of the episode I felt was lacking was how they got to the decision that it actually went in tribal. Because again, and I kind of led this off whenever we were talking about Lydia, I don't understand the rationale. The only person's rationale I understand is Omar's, because he was looking out for all his people. But outside of that, and when you looked at the way the votes fell, I just didn't understand this vote, and I would have liked to get a little bit more of the actual conversations that led to that.
Yeah, that was kind of chaotic, but I kind of understood it for the most part. I feel like because Romeo was, even though he didn't vote for him in the end, Romeo was driving for Jonathan, which was the smart thing to do. And I think that's why Tori and who else voted? Was it Chanel? I think Tori and Chanel both voted for Jonathan. So I assume that was the talks were those 3 to vote for Jonathan, but I guess somebody else must have swayed Romeo in the end. I mean, we'll get to the votes I didn't understand and why this person is number 8, probably because I dragged her down a lot. Is Lindsay at number 8?
Who did she vote for?
Well, she voted the right way, but all we got, she gets no edit, and then her only edit is, you know what? Let's vote out Mary Ann. They've built up this bond with Mary Ann, and they're gonna vote out Mary Ann over Lydia. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever for her game.
Nah, that shit was weird, bro. That shit was so weird.
I thought Lydia and Jonathan looked dumb as fuck in there. It's a good thing Omar got them on board to actually be strategic. Be a little strategic.
I think I actually do understand the reasoning, or I can see a reasoning for it. And that is if these people were all hell-bent on this alliance of 8 that Marianne was not in. That's
still bad. An alliance of 8 is bad gameplay.
It's so bad.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. But if they're laser focused on this alliance of 8 and the Orange Tribe wants to look like they're not 4 strong and that they're willing to sacrifice one of their members so that they can still keep the majority of the 8 without sketching out the other 5 players that are in it, because you still have, the biggest majority tribe in there, then, you offer up the player that you're least close to try to gain the trust of the remainder of that alliance. That's the only rationale I could see to it.
We didn't see that rationale from Lindsay. We saw that rationale from Jonathan. That's why I ranked him higher than Lindsay by a few spots. Getting rid of, I think getting rid of Marianne would be a mistake at this junction. There were only so many options they had, but my God, forget the 8-person alliance. Like, seriously.
They did. They forgot it. It's down to 7.
I feel like you can get tunnel vision going into, like, you're coming into the merge and your target for days has been Marianne, and now, so why not just keep that? It kind of like looking at Online Survival 1. My target was Dazed. I go into merge. What do? I go for Dazed when I get the opportunity until my mind changes. But you see, you just get tunnel vision in games like these. It's, you know, it happens.
But it would have been a terrible mistake for them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Any other thoughts on Lindsay? Not a whole lot to think. That's been her only edit. Was a dumb thought process.
Who?
Yeah, she's really the who of the season.
Mike Jones.
Well, number 7, quite the fall from grace, is high.
That's too far, in my opinion. I think he definitely falls, but this far?
I put him lower than this. I put him at 8 because I really hated. He has a chance for redemption next week when he can explain his rationale, but he got outplayed. Like, period. Like, he lost the negotiation or campaigning battle, and right to the point where he voted out his closest ally. Like, if he doesn't have some really good rationale for that, which there are some. I mean, if he knew that the writing was on the wall, it's like I say sometimes, if you have so many people coming to you saying I'm voting this way and I'm not changing it, well, you don't want to be the outcast. But anything other than that, and this was just a terrible, terrible vote for him.
Why do you think it should be higher, Mike?
I mean, it was a terrible vote for him, but he's still being included in this big alliance. And he's still talking about getting agency, and he's still got a lot of individuals liking him. I think using Jonathan as a shield is a good idea. He's shown bonding with people. And I do think this hurts his winning chances like a lot. And I think he was dumb to come into the merge saying, LOL, I went to Rocks for her. But like, he's still, I think, a good player. And I think 7's too low. I think 3 spots higher-ish, 2 or 3 spots higher.
I knocked him this far out of principle, honestly, just because it was so bad. Like, it was just so bad. But like Mike said, or should I say, to piggyback on what Mike said, he did know how the vote was going. Obviously, that he wouldn't have voted for her if he didn't know that she was getting the majority of the votes. So he was included enough in that group and socially aware enough to know that those votes were going her way. And that does say something for him. But he should have fought harder or campaigned better for her.
Yeah, I didn't understand his rationale either. Maybe we'll get an explanation. Because, like, on one hand, he built himself as trustworthy, and now if he votes out his number 1, is he really going to be seen as trustworthy? But on the other hand, sometimes you got to cut your losses, so maybe he can still weasel his way back in some way because he's not seen as a duo anymore, maybe.
I mean, if he's got 5 people of that alliance that are just coming to him saying, look, we're voting for Lydia, and he's like, there's nothing I can do to save her. Well, you don't want to be the odd person out of that alliance voting without the way your alliance doesn't vote. That's literally it. That's all I could see as far as rationale goes.
I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, if I'm high, wait, who was it? Who was vulnerable? It was Lindsay, Jonathan, Lydia, and high.
Marianne and high.
Marianne. Okay, if I'm high, I'm throwing a vote on Marianne. Not in the 8, not my number 1 ally. I don't care that you're all voting Lydia. I'm voting Marianne.
I think where high went wrong is where a lot of people are going wrong is I guess he wants Jonathan to be a shield for him too, but Jonathan can't be a shield for everybody. So I don't understand why he didn't jump aboard the Romeo train and vote for Jonathan to save Lydia. That was actually the move to make. So actually, now that I'm thinking about this more, Hyde was actually pretty dumb in this episode.
But I mean, if the votes aren't there, the votes aren't there. It could be a good plan all you want. If people are just like, no, I'm not getting rid of Jonathan, I need him as a shield.
But if Romeo's really going for that, he didn't vote that way in the end. Maybe he didn't vote that way because he had the numbers. But if Hyde votes that way and he convinces Lydia to vote that way, they definitely have the numbers.
Do they though? That's 3 people.
No, because Chanel and Tori voted for him. So that's 5 people.
Perhaps. Yeah, you're right.
How do you feel about Hyde, Aspen? Is he fucked?
He ain't in the best place, that's for sure. Right now, Jonathan is my only hope. So, yeah, I thought I was gonna do a better job at campaigning to keep Lydia, and he fucked up. He fucked up big time. But I think he can come back because he can go make the case of like, I voted off my number 1, so I'm a free agent now type shit.
Never do that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's his only hope.
I mean, hearing I voted off my number 1 does not inspire confidence in me. It inspires fear. But everyone has a different philosophy on that.
All right. Number 6 is Mary Ann, who stays in the middle of our rankings for like the 3rd straight week.
Team Boo Boo getting in. I think. Oh wow, I had her pretty low. She didn't play the idol despite feeling heat, so good on her for trusting in her one of her closest allies to not play it. So good.
Yeah, that's why she was one of the 3 people that came out positive in this episode for me, because she has the understanding. I feel like, unlike one of our people in our top spots who I've been talking about doesn't have a good feel of the board, I actually feel like Mary Ann does, because she didn't play her idol, even though maybe it's just because she trusted Omar. But either way, she did the right thing.
So in poker, we have this thing called results-oriented thinking. And it's basically saying that the move was right based on the result and not on the theory behind the play. I think Mary Ann absolutely should have played her idol here, knowing that her name was one of the few people out there. So even though it worked out for her, and in the end it was the equitable play, I don't think it was the right play. And I also think that she's on the outs. So I kept her pretty low just because she's not in the big part of the alliance.
I agree with Fanga.
She has that bubbly personality, but I think it rubs a lot of people out there the wrong way, or it annoys them more than it endears us as viewers to some extent. Mm-hmm. So I think she finds herself on the outs regardless, and that's why I ranked her pretty low.
I mean, I think if your closest ally, we're not really seeing who Mary Ann's closest ally are, but we're going to assume it's Omar. We're going to assume Omar has the best social game on that tribe, and Mary Ann trusts Omar.
Which he does.
If I have an idol, and my number 1 ally is telling me, just trust me, don't play your idol, you don't need it. You have to take a leap of faith in games like these, because Mary Ann is going for the win. She's not going to place 10th or whatever. She wants to win, and if you want to win, having an idol is a valuable tool. And if your number 1 ally tells you don't need it, depending on how much you trust that person, you listen to your ally over your own paranoia. Because if you get in your own head and your own paranoia, it's how you lose.
But that's assuming her ally is correct. Like, a lot of people are assured by their number 1 ally that they're safe, but there's 8 or 9 other votes out there. And Omar, we saw him in control. But I'm not, maybe they did too. I don't know. But it's hard to put that much stock into one person's vote who doesn't even have a vote.
Realistically, Jonathan and Lindsay probably went to her and also told her you're safe. Like, it probably wasn't just Omar, but, you got to trust someone, and If Omar feels like he has a good grasp of the game, and if you feel like you're on the beach, you can tell when someone's in all the conversations and when they're not. So if she sees Omar in all the conversations, she just has to put her faith in him, and that's what she did, and it worked out.
The other factor for me here was the amount of people that were eligible to be voted out. I think statistically, you have a much greater chance at leaving when there's only 5 people who can be voted out, which makes it a much stronger, like from an empirical standpoint, a much more logical spot to use an idol because there's only 5 choices to vote.
But I mean, I still think.
And the person who was going to get the votes just won immunity. Like the person that everyone knew was going to get voted out just won immunity.
I mean, I'm not good at poker, Vanguard, but I still feel like her not using your idol here was the right play, though, was it not? Because she didn't waste your idol. That would have been a waste if she would have used it. And now she still has it.
Results-wise, it was. But if she had gotten voted out, we'd be saying the opposite thing.
But she did it.
That's results-oriented thinking. That's taking the result of a situation and saying that it was right because of the result.
I think it's a good play to put your trust in someone, especially and she put her trust in the right person. And yes, that's the result, is that it turns out as the right person. But like, you have to put your trust in someone. And she didn't put her trust in an inanimate idol that would be gone. She put her trust in a person, and that I think is much more valuable moving forward. Because you need allies. Final, what are we on? 13, 12 now? 11 now? You need allies. You don't need like you do. Your idol, your allies wanting you to have the idol. You need your allies. That's how you win.
Number 5 is Romeo.
Okay.
He's not going home next week because we saw in the preview him talking about it.
Yep, exactly.
Tom in the preview talking about what?
About Romeo.
Because they were acting the preview. Every time the preview somebody in trouble, they didn't go home in the next episode. And they previewed Romeo in trouble, so he's not going home in the next episode.
That is 100% accurate.
Hey. They previewed Daniel being in trouble, and then Daniel went.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
That they might have actually done that. That's true. That could be a possibility.
I don't think Romeo is going next.
So like one time out of the last 25 times.
I don't put like hardly any stock in previews. So
I don't stop watching them.
You can't. You could almost put more stock in what they're saying is not going to happen. Yeah. That's kind of what Nick and I are saying. Like it almost is 100% accurate.
I wish I knew Romeo's line of thinking and his vote, because we saw he was the one pushing for Jonathan, and then he didn't vote that way in the end. But I did like that he was the one person pushing for Jonathan, the obvious choice who can't be everybody's shill.
We saw his line of thinking. It was Jonathan, good challenge. Jonathan, go. Like that's his line of thinking.
That's the right line of thinking.
I'm not saying it's a bad line of thinking, but we saw his thought process from start to end. Like,
but then he didn't vote that way, so we don't know why.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my biggest pet peeve is just people voting because they just they feel this need to be in the majority. Like, bro, vote your conscience, vote your heart, vote what you think's right. Like, yeah, you need allies, but if your allies are going to turn on you because you turned a 7 whatever vote into a 6 whatever, I'm not saying flip. I'm just saying in a vote like this where it doesn't matter, just vote your conscience. Same thing with I.
It's very because this isn't like others. They had more than one choice. You have 5 choices, so you in this spot it's not you're in the majority or the minority. Yeah. It's not a it's you can be in the minority without turning on your ally, which I agree would have been the better play.
Any other thoughts on Romeo?
I think he has one of the better social games. Yeah, he has a decent edit. Like, he really is doing okay for I really think he's okay, except for he's not in that big alliance. I think he's one of the other people that are on the outs.
Yeah, which we'll get there Well, up next is Mike, who just keeps getting higher. I think he's a little high for me.
The undrafted Mike.
Yeah.
This is probably from me putting him in second, because this was a really, 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 really good episode from Mike. We saw him making so many individual bonds and connections. And I'm sorry, but unless he like completely backstabs these people, I don't remember which one of you was like, he's never winning a jury vote. Are you really telling me this guy's not getting Jonathan's jury vote if he doesn't horribly backstab him? Are you really telling me he's not getting these votes that he's... Who else did he connect with? Because like, it was like 2 or 3 people. He was really sitting there. You can just see he was working his social game. Social games win games. Mike was shown being able to empathize and connect with people. Oh, Omar. And bro, if you want to be on anyone's good side right now, it's Omar. So
he does have a good
episode
social
for
game.
Mike.
Yeah, it's way better. He's way better than I thought he would be. I think I'm biased.
Because he's a firefighter?
He's a firefighter.
No, actually, no. I have this, and again, it just comes from, like I said, I've played cards in every segment of the country except for the Northwest. And the Northeast is by far my least favorite place to play because people up there are just assholes. So for me, I think it could be his like Jersey vibe that just throws me off, because people from that segment of the country are not likable to me. And it could be because I'm so chill and lax and they're so brash and like rude almost, that it's hard for me to put that much stock. But I will say that everyone's saying Mike's a straight shooter. Mike's going to do what he says. That is not a bad rep to have. And if he finds himself at the end and he's got enough people on the jury that can just appreciate the straight shooter type of game, he can absolutely win. I just don't see him talking his way into any votes at the end.
But if everyone likes you, you don't need to talk your way into that many.
Correct.
You don't. Because people at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to swallow a pill of voting for someone you genuinely like than it is to vote for someone you dislike who played a great game.
Who played better in a lot of cases. No, you're right.
Yeah, there's something about Mike's game I just don't like. I don't know what it is.
Because his name's Mike. We all know people named Mike have.
I like your game, Mike. I don't like his game. I think I don't know what it is. He comes off as somebody who's like foolish, maybe? I don't know. Something about him comes off foolish.
He's not slick. He's just not slick. He has no slickness to him. He's so much of a straight shooter that for anyone who can appreciate and enjoys the strategic element of these games, he is not going to be any strategic mastermind or anything. He is going to follow someone's lead. But he's going to follow him and stick with him to the end. But that's what he's good for.
He wants a strong man to win.
He's like a drone. He's just like a drone out there. He's not going to do anything that he's not commanded to do.
I love and appreciate. That's okay. First of all, not true, because we see him activate his idol despite his whole tribe telling him not to do that. His whole tribe that he says he'll take a bullet for, he still acted in his self-interest in that heat of the moment when he had to make the decision. And I think that was a good move, and I think that showed intelligence on his part. Secondly,
go ahead.
He'd step aside for Chanel.
I'm somewhat. That's what he said. Yeah, I like that. That's funny. He says, you said people who I really like and appreciate the strategy part of the game, but for my ally, I like someone like Mike as my ally. Like, that's who you want. So all these game bots in this cast and all these strategic people, all the people pulling the strings, the Omars, the Highs, the well, Tori's not pulling any strings, but she's certainly trying to be strategic. They're gonna love this guy, and so
they do love this guy. That's why they keep saying he's a straight shooter. What he says, you can believe. It's exactly the kind of ally you want. But he's not going to take the reins of this game. And I think as a viewer, that's something you want to see.
Any other thoughts on Mike?
Or as High would say, he's a passenger. He's not a driver.
True.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Number 3 is Jonathan. Possibly the highest he's been. That's a little high
Let's
for me.
fucking go, Jonathan.
This was a
Nick,
good
shut the
episode.
fuck up, Nick.
It was a good episode for Jonathan.
It was a good
Hating,
episode for
bruh.
Jonathan. It was definitely a good episode for Jonathan. Everybody wants Jonathan as a shield until they don't.
The biggest threat in the
Embodying, he'll
game.
be done comped his way out.
Yeah,
I know.
that's
My own thing with him in this episode. I said it a couple podcasts ago. This man is very emotional. He is an emotional player. He was getting so frustrated during that challenge that I think that could even cost him in challenges.
Yeah, I saw that too. This guy is the single biggest target out there. They have 5 people to choose from, and he escapes the vote. I mean, there's not a lot negative that you could say about that. And I think a big factor that we haven't really talked about on any of the podcasts is going to play into why his game is actually as strong as it is the fact that these people are starving out there and they're not getting food. And he is the guy who is going catch all the food. And when you're starving, that matters. That matters a lot.
Hell yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm. And he ate like 5 burgers, which, my God, that's impressive.
He's a big guy. He needs the fuel.
He about to be so juiced up, boy. I'm telling you, he about to come out, bruh. He
You
is
know,
about to
stomach ache
pump
for
the
a few
fuck
That was
out.
that was probably the first time this man has ever eaten Applebee's in his life. Like, he's just not the kind of guy to be eating junk food. Like, probably the first time he's ever eaten Applebee's.
I don't know if he can comp out just because a lot of these are about to be about balance more than strength and endurance
puzzles.
necessarily. Yeah, puzzles and balance. And those are his balance is probably pretty good actually. But I think Lindsay, Drea, Tori are going to be the front runners and maybe even high in some of the balance competitions.
Lindsay, for sure.
Oh, Dre about to kill that shit.
Oh yeah, Drea is literally the definition of a social threat, like in every way. Or I'm sorry, triple threat is what I meant. I was like running through in my head. She's the definition of a triple threat. Drea's gonna win some challenges, and she's got all these advantages, and she's strategic, and she's getting in these alliances by being social. Tell me she's not strategic. What is she? She's
Nick's
running
gonna
back
argue
the
that. I heard he implied it earlier. That was the person he's like, somebody at the top I don't agree with, and I knew that was who it was gonna be.
Well, it's both Drea and
Really?
Jonathan, honestly. But any other thoughts on Jonathan?
Dude,
He doing a great job. I love
Y'all
you
are
so
so
much,
high on him. Let's
Jonathan.
hear
I know
it,
you
Aspen.
watching this. You doing a great job, Jonathan. Oh my God, I just cannot believe how fucking amazing you doing. You carrying a ass. Everybody's like, during the challenge, everybody's like, Goliath, pull me, take me with you. And I'm like, yeah, Jonathan, save these hoes. Come and put the cape on for them, boy. Let's go.
Oh, you're
Yes.
such a fangirl, Aspen. It makes me nauseous.
Bro, I love Jonathan. I legit did not expect to like Jonathan at all, and he's one of my favorites to watch on this season. Like,
I will say I do like him. I just hate the overrating, just because he's good at challenges.
okay, it just hurt to watch that challenge the whole time, knowing as the viewers that we are that it is he's losing the challenge for himself. It just hurts
It was a little
to
hilarious.
watch.
It's kind of funny.
I think it was funny when they were, because when they're pulling rocks for the two teams, everyone's like, please,
They're
just,
all looking to him
please, everyone first thing they do is check what color his is when he opens his hand.
before they even look at theirs. They're looking at Jonathan's and then
Yeah.
back to theirs.
And he's charming. He's got a lot of people on his side, and a lot of people didn't vote him out, and they could have. It was a really easy chance to get the biggest physical threat in the game out, and they chose not to. And I think that speaks volumes to his social game. And I think the Orange Tribe is going to go do pretty good.
I think so as well. All right. Number 2 is Drea.
All right, let's hear it, Nick.
Yeah, let's hear it. You're the biggest attractor.
Okay, this is
so-
like, I enjoyed her in this episode. I think she had a good episode. And I at first had her high, and I didn't have her low or anything. But she was the person that I had to keep changing my rankings for because I just didn't know where to put her because look, she had a great episode, and then we get this preview where she's just talking all this shit about Romeo. And it just continues to boggle my mind why Drea doesn't give a flying fuck about any of her allies in this game.
Don't put stock in previews, man, because, you know, she could be going, this person goes, Romeo needs to go. And then she goes, oh, yeah, Romeo's the worst. And then she runs. She's like, bro, we gotta save Romeo. Romeo, man, we got to get these votes.
It's possible, but we've already seen her do this exact same thing with Roxroy and go back and forth over Roxroy.
Yeah, but Romeo is like great social game, and Roxroy is like the worst social game on the season. So I can see why she wanted to turn on Roxroy. But if she turns on Romeo, I'm plummeting her next episode. And I actually put her middle of the pack this time because she's a triple threat, and she's also on what I have to consider the most fractured and weakest of the tribes in the merge, like the blue tribe. And so I have trouble putting her as like a top 3, top 4 contender for the crown because of that.
Well, I mean, I think the green tribe's the most fractured. I think Chanel's going.
But it's not. It's a strong, well, she's gone. Lydia's gone. So
it's literally just Mike and Hai.
I guess, yeah, on a technicality, but they were a strong. Hai voted Lydia, and
so did Mike.
Yeah, but I don't think it was not their idea or anything. Like, they were a strong 3, and the blue 3 I think is a little less strong because I just think Roxroy is not. He's not in that inner circle of Drea and Romeo. It's really the Drea and Romeo power duo. Preview notwithstanding, they are, you know.
But let's just be real. If those 2 votes switch to Jonathan or Marianne, there's a tie.
Yeah.
All you got to do is...
They just got really outplayed in this vote.
All those 2 had to do was vote for one of the other main targets, and Lydia would have at least tied and had a chance to stay.
But yeah, I think Drea has a lot of the tools to win the game. And she definitely has a lot of powers, obviously. But I just have been saying, I just don't like her maneuver ability to actually get to the end and win in the end, because I feel like she has a massive mistake waiting to happen.
I can see that.
Nick, you're so pessimistic. Ugh,
I'm definitely pessimistic. But that's how I feel about Drea.
Was she the one in the preview who was like saying that Romeo was acting like such a bitch or something like that? It was her. Wow.
It's a preview.
No, but it was the way she said it. She's like, Romeo just going around acting like a little bitch or something like that. And I was like, damn.
And she didn't even include him in the fucking alliance. She included Roxroy, who she's been iffy about. She makes no sense on a strategic level to me.
I've said some rough things about people I would consider really good allies. Like, I can be angry at someone 1 minute and then forgive them after I've calmed
you're
down.
right, you can.
She could just be mad in the moment and then forgive someone because, like, forgiveness is, you know. So she's probably a little angry at Romeo, but then she forgives him and goes back to him is the hope. Because if she does turn on her, like, day 1 power duo, that's a bad move. You don't turn on your day 1 power duo. Look what happened to Chanel and Daniel. They're Chanel's on her last legs, and Daniel's out of the game because they turned on each other. You don't do that with your strategic partner. Look at Omar and Jonathan for a successful example. Speaking of the devil, we're about to get to Omar.
True. While 2 of my 3 players are the bottom 2, but number 1 is my player, Omar at number 1.
Deserved.
Yeah, he did great. I mean, he had no vote, and yet he controlled the vote. I think that's very impressive.
And he's got people offering up their extra vote, literally, basically, so he can have a vote in this alliance. Like, in theory, like, he's great. He's a really, really, really good player. So I gave him number 1.
And he outplayed our past number 1 in Hai this round, so I think it is well deserved.
Decimated him. Didn't just outplay him. He decimated him. He had no vote, controlled the vote, made sure that his tribe was completely safe. And for me, most importantly, you don't hear an unkind word or a threatening word from anybody. Nobody, he is on no one's radar, and he's running the game. And if you can run the game and drive a vote that hard and no one even mentions you as like, wow, this guy's really doing, it's amazing.
Good
yeah.
shit.
You think, As?
What's that?
I said, what do you think, Aspen? She seems like she's got something to say.
Honestly, he is doing a good job. I genuinely don't see him winning. This gonna sound bad, but I don't think Survivor will let two brown people win back to back, bro. I just don't see it
And
happening.
isn't he Canadian too?
Oh
Omar Canadian?
no,
Is he?
absolutely.
I thought it was
I don't
Drea
Oh no, but
and Omar, isn't it? Maybe not.
yeah, I mean, he doing a good job, but I'm kind of feeling like he about to come to a drastic fall, and it better be him over Jonathan. That's for damn sure.
It's Jonathan will fall before Omar. Okay,
Bro, there's the
Aspen.
final. There's the final two with the goat. Who's the goat? Tori
Lindsay.
that they dragged to the end.
Lindsay.
Are we really going with an all orange final three?
That's possible.
It is possible.
But
That's
would Omar get the votes over Jonathan though? I don't know if he would.
everyone seems
He's
to like
got
both
the
of them.
title. Yeah.
Everyone seems to like both of them. Everyone.
Yeah, I think if a duo is going to turn on someone, I think Omar needs to do it at final 4, 5 to Jonathan.
And I think the blue and green tribes are too fractured to even realize that the orange tribe is like gonna just take over the show.
But blue doesn't need to be fractured. Drea makes it so. I mean, Tori is obviously fractured from Rocksroy, but Rocksroy, Romeo, and Drea could be a solid 3. Any other thoughts on the episode or the ranking?
I'm about to start calling Jeff Mr. Jeff from now on. That's for sure. He love it. I'm convinced Jeff is gay at this point. I think he's gay.
Why? Because of his man
Which
crushes?
is fine. Yeah, which is fine. He just need to come out to all of us, like he be forcing everybody else to do. Like, come out, Jeff. It's okay. We accept you still.
I think production is just, and we say it every week, production just drops the ball with female perspectives and edits and everything. And maybe Probst's man crushes have to do with all that. Like he just doesn't see women narratives developing or anything. Even Lydia on her exit interview, one of her exit interviews this week that I'd read, she said something about how she was surprised that one of her narratives didn't get more airtime or something.
I'm not surprised. I mean, bro, Nick can do it. Nick knows how to edit women. Like, and yet the Survivor people who literally get paid to do it can't do it. It's my.
I just don't understand why it's not that hard to do. You just have to edit their perspectives in their games.
Here's the
similar
problem.
to how you do the.
Isn't it literally the same as editing a guy?
Exact thing, yeah.
No, Nick. Here's the problem: is you see women as equal to men. Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst, maybe not so much.
I guess you might be right.
Yo, they not ready for that, y'all. They not ready. Stop.
Because, like, you would think the way they treat it, that it's a whole different process to edit women than men. Like, it's something they haven't taken the class
Yeah,
for.
that's why I'm
Like,
so bamboozled by it.
It's literally the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Crazy. All right. Well, we have lost Aspen, but I guess we shall end it here with this week's rankings.